Welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because, well, we're going to completely shatter how you view the physical world around you. You look around and see colors, right? But what if I told you that color isn't an objective physical reality at all? It's actually a highly subjective, incredibly complex illusion. Okay, let's dive into this. Take a quick second and just look around the room you're in right now. The colors you're perceiving on your walls, your furniture, maybe even on your own hands, they feel so concrete, so absolute, don't they? But I want to pose a serious question to you. Is your blue the exact same as my blue? While physical wavelengths of light absolutely exist out there in the world, the concept of color itself is an experience constructed entirely inside your own subjective mind. To wrap our heads around this, we're going to peel back the layers of perception. We'll start by looking at the biology of color sight, then move into how language shapes colors. From there, we'll explore the cultural symbols of color, dive deep into the brain's meaning network, and finally unpack the illusion of objective color. Starting with Section 1, the biology of color sight, and how the eye filters the world. It all begins with the literal biological hardware inside your retina, specifically your cone cells. Now, typically, humans have three types of these photoreceptors, the L, M, and S cones. But here is exactly where the whole assumption of universal human sight breaks down. Even among folks who have completely normal color vision, there are genetic variations on the X chromosome that physically change the properties of these receptors. So what does this actually mean? It means the literal hardware inside your eyes is totally unique to you. Literally no two sets of eyes are exactly the same. And this brilliantly illustrates the impact of those individual eye differences. Because of these genetic variations, the peak sensitivity for L cones actually shifts between 554 and 560 nanometers, and M cones vary between 523 and 535 nanometers. Now, this isn't just some minor rounding error. It means that, as a species, we are processing the exact same physical light completely differently right from the very first step of perception. These biological differences dictate your reality before your brain even gets a chance to be involved. And to make things even crazier, this biological filtering shifts drastically as we get older. Just think about this. 0 to 1%. That is the light transmittance of ultraviolet and blue light at 350 nanometers for a 60-year-old eye. To put that into perspective, a 20-year-old eye has a transmittance of 5 to 10%. Why is there such a massive drop-off? Well, because the lens of your eye physically turns yellowish-brown as you age. Your eye comes with a built-in aging color filter, continuously tweaking the entire hue of your perception over your entire lifetime. Because of all these biological factors, standardizing color is pretty much scientifically impossible. The CIE 1931 Standard Observer, which, is the model used all over the world to quantify color, is really just a statistical average. Honestly, it's a mathematical fiction. Once you factor in age, individual cone differences, cataracts, and even just the physical size of a person's pupil, you quickly realize that your physical baseline for color is entirely your own. Moving on to Section 2, how language shapes colors, and how we're essentially building boxes for our eyes. Now, what's really interesting here is asking whether the actual vocabulary you speak could alter how fast your brain sorts color. Take the Russian language, for example. In English, we might say light blue or dark blue, but to us, at the end of the day, it's all fundamentally just blue. Russian speakers, however, categorize these shades as entirely different fundamental colors, goluboy and siny. Because they've built distinct linguistic boxes for these shades from a very early age, studies actually show Russian speakers can recognize and distinguish between these colors faster than English speakers. The language you speak literally changes your visual processing speed. It's wild. We also see some really fascinating linguistic layers when we look at the Japanese language. The ancient Japanese word ao was super broad. It categorized both what we call blue and green together into one single concept. And because of this, clearly green traffic lights in Japan today are actually called ao, meaning blue. It's a total aha moment. The language of the past is literally overriding the modern visual of the present. But modern Japanese goes a lot further, breaking colors down into deep nature-based categories. You have words like yamabuki for a specific golden yellow, matcha for green, or mizu for light blue. And these aren't just pretty poetic descriptions. Linguistic studies demonstrate that knowing a high number of these material-based color names actually dictates how you divide up color space in your mind, which directly improves your ability to remember and recall colors. Section 3. Cultural symbols of color, where we map emotion to wavelength. The meaning of a color is something we historically inherit. Take the color blue, for instance. In English, if you're feeling blue, it instantly evokes melancholy, sadness, and loneliness, right? But in Japanese culture, the concept of blue, or ao, is deeply tied to youth, freshness, transparency, and cleanliness. You are looking at the exact same physical wavelength of light, yet it triggers wildly different emotional and physiological reactions depending entirely on the cultural history you happen to have inherited. And hey, even when a color is universally loved across regions, the cultural reasoning behind it remains hyperlocal. A cross-cultural study of Asian cities found that blue was a favorite color pretty much everywhere. But in Tokyo, it was favored because it represented a refreshing beauty. Meanwhile, in Taipei and Tianjin, blue was beloved because it symbolized vastness and freedom. The emotional meaning applied to the physical light changes just based on the city you're standing in. Let's move to Section 4, the brain's meaning network, your personal canvas, and see how this all builds. By the time light waves hit your temporal and frontal lobes, your brain starts connecting this visual data directly to your personal memories. So for one person, the color blue might instantly trigger this warm, nostalgic memory of a childhood summer ocean. But for someone else, that exact same color might recall the cold, sterile walls of a hospital room they once stayed in. Your emotional reaction to color is entirely unique to the specific life you've lived. And this meaning network in the brain, it's highly adaptable. Professional painters and designers literally train their brains to recognize and process microscopic color differences that the rest of us totally miss. Plus, neurodiversity plays a huge role here. Individuals on the autism spectrum, for instance, might experience synesthesia, where they literally link a visual color to a physical taste in their mouth. It completely reshapes the brain's entire meaning network. Bringing us to our final section, Section 5, the illusion of objective color and the five-layer reality. So the crucial point is this: light must pass through all 5 of these subjective filters before you actually see a color. Think about it as a journey. It passes through the physical receptors of your highly individual eyes, then it gets sorted by the vocabulary of your language. It's colored by the historical metaphors of your culture, it's filtered through your personal memories, and finally, it's processed by your totally unique neural networks. Seeing color is a staggering 5-layered subjective reality. So, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to ponder today. If your eyes, your words, your culture, and your deepest memories are entirely your own, what color are you really looking at right now? Keep that in mind next time you look up at the sky. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the incredible world around you.